Hello guys and welcome back to Thailand Adventures with Dan. Today we have an exclusive interview. This is an interview with an American man who's a subscriber to the channel called Mike, and it's about his story where he met a Filipino woman online, spoke to her for several months, and then flew over to the Philippines, brought her back to America, married her, got divorced, and now she lives happily ever after in America with her visa. Stay tuned, roll the intro, let's get on with the story. Hi Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good today.
Good, mate, good. Right, Mike, everyone's tuned in to listen to your story today. You've got a fantastic story to tell everybody. But first, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Who is Mike?
Okay, I'm just a regular, normal person trying to make a decent living and survive in the world today. I live here in America. I've been here a majority of my life. Uh, I was brought here when I was a little kid from Europe,
Okay.
and I'm here. I'm here in America, in Michigan. So I've been here. I've been here 56 years. Uh, I just finished. I just retired from my job. I've been in my job for 32 years. I just finished, and I've had a real professional job. I've been at my job the same. I've been at the same job since I finished college, and that was over like 34 years ago. So I've been at the same job.
Did you
So
enjoy it,
I didn't
Mike?
jump from job to job. So I've been very blessed to have a good job and a good career.
And you enjoyed it as well, yeah?
Oh yeah, it was a good. I couldn't ask for a better job. I mean, the job was great.
Yeah, good. Not many of us actually get to be in a job that we enjoy.
No, and I've been here. Like I said, I've been here. I've been successful. I've went to college. Got a good career. I got a lot of things going for me in life. I got a good retirement. I live in a good, safe community where I'm at right now. Um, I do want to start traveling now that I'm retired, and possibly because I'm not happy with the way America has been lately. Cost of
Okay.
living and everything is getting really crazy. I'm
Hmm.
possibly thinking of maybe relocating to another foreign country to finish out the rest of my life. And Thailand's possibly one of the places that I'm
Right.
looking to maybe go adventure that way.
Hey, Mike, so we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the story of what happened to you with a Filipino lady. So if we can start from the beginning and go through to the middle and through to the end of the story and just give everybody your perspective of what happened. Off you go, Mike.
Okay, so what happened was to get right into everything so everybody can understand what's going on, what happened in my life, and how I can share it with you guys to all you guys are know, and to be a little bit more careful yourself about dating somebody possibly overseas. Um, I started going on dating apps. I was on probably 10 to 15 dating apps
Wow.
trying to meet somebody in the Asian country because I was just fed up of dating the American women here because they're they're too much trying to be controlling and they're lazy, and I'm not a type of woman, a type of guy that wants a woman that drinks and smokes and does drugs, and I'm not looking for that. I want to something like I have a good solid foundation with. So I went on dating apps and I started all different type of dating apps out there and dating sites. And after I did that, I actually ran into a Philippine woman that lives here in Michigan,
Okay.
and we talked, but we didn't hit it off. And that happened to be uh, the woman that introduced me to her cousin, which that was the Philippine woman I ended up marrying.
So she
So
introduced you to your future wife.
exactly, and my future wife at that time wasn't looking even to date anybody, but
Okay.
she contacted her. Hey, there's a guy in America. Would you be interested in talking to him? and see if you guys connect and see where it goes. She said, yeah. So we used Skype at the time, and we were talking on Skype, and that's what happened. I met her on Skype, and from that point, the time we started talking on Skype, we talked every single day, and that started in like October, August. I think August it was August, and we talked every day. And then after we talked every day, that's when I decided, let me just fly to the Philippines, which I did the following. That was in March of 2015. I actually was in the Philippines to meet her.
So you started talking from August until March the following year, and then you
Yes.
decided to go and meet this woman, basically.
Yes. So in March of 2015, I was in the Philippines.
Okay.
I spent 21 days with her every
Wow.
day since I was there. So I got to know her and her family and everything. It was basically just going there pretty much to meet her, not so much to go sightseeing of the whole island. It was basically just to see her.
So you spent most of the
So
time where she lives in the Philippines, and what
yes,
area?
and she lived in an island called Cebu, one of
Cebu,
the
yeah.
biggest islands in Cebu.
I know
So
it.
I focused my whole time there with her and her family to get to know them. And then that's when we decided to get serious, get involved, and get married. And then we started making plans to bring her here to America, which, I was supporting her family and her with her schooling. And during the whole time that we were talking, I started helping her and helping her family. And so when I left in 2000, when I left in March of 2015, I was still helping her and her family, and I was giving them anywhere from $300 to $500 a month. Because
Okay.
that was to help
Wow.
her family and pay for her schooling, her college, which she was attending. And our plans was to get her to finish her college and get a degree before she came to America, and we would get married.
What was she studying, Mike?
Pardon?
What was she studying?
A business administrative. So
Okay. Wow.
she
Okay.
got a degree in that, a 4-year degree at a university in the Philippines. So in 2016, she ended up coming here to America, and we got married. And then we started living our life here. But, keep in mind, before I brought her here, I told her that I can't have kids. I don't want to have kids. And that she has to understand that. And all of her family members knew that we weren't going to have a family, because I told them that that's not the plan in the future. So I told my ex-wife that that you have to understand that we're not going to have children. And she said she's okay with that. That
Okay.
she just wanted to be, her main thing was she would like to be a career woman and work. And I said, no problem with that. And I said, if you want a cat or a dog instead, child, I'm okay with it. I just didn't want to start raising babies at my age, because I was planning to retire in 2022, which I did retire, and I didn't want to start raising kids then. I
Okay,
wanted to start
Mike.
travel.
So you was 47, and how old was the Filipino lady?
She was 23.
23. So there's a bit of an age gap there.
Yes.
Yeah, and did you find that caused any problems within your relationship, the age difference, or was you okay?
Uh, she was the only problem we really had. Is there some things like that she should have been more responsible with? She was like not as responsible with, like
Okay.
just to let everybody know, the women in the Philippines, and not just women, men too, they all like Facebook and TikTok,
Yeah.
and they love the karaoke. The whole place, everybody likes the karaoke.
We
So
love it
that's
here as
like,
well. We love it here
they
also.
love to do that. So to me, that's like kind of a waste of time. And if you do want to do that, take your priority stuff first. That's more important, because that's playing.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's where we might bump heads a little bit. But besides that, we really never had no problems like that.
Okay.
So we got along like that. But the problems that we had is when it came to the children part. She wanted to have a family, and I didn't. So that ended up causing us to have a divorce. But before that happened, in October of 2020, we went to a baby shower, and the woman was having a baby, a friend of hers. So
Filipino.
that really pushed her to bug me to have a child from that point on. And we started having little arguments. It was all based on having a kid.
And that was a
And I
Filipino
told her
friend,
no.
Mike. That was a Filipino
Yes, it was
friend.
her Filipino friend having a kid. And that
Okay.
started our problem. So then after that, it just started getting worse, worse, worse. And then that's when we decided that this ain't going to work because she wanted one thing that I wasn't going to give her that she knew about. I never misled her anytime in the whole relationship. And if you were to ask that woman today if I ever lied to her or misled her in any way, she can't say that I did. So
Okay.
I can say that I was honest on my part and what I was going to do for her. I kept my honesty and promises to her that I was going to do for her if she married me and was my wife. I kept that promise. So when she came here, after the arguments with the child, and we ended up getting divorced in 2021 of April, we got divorced. And
Okay.
now she's on her own, living in an apartment and supporting herself. I basically have no ties, no commitments with her. She's on her own, dating other people, and I myself going to move on and date and go to find somebody that is good for me.
Okay, so let's just rewind a little bit. So back in August, you basically started chatting to this woman from a friend, a cousin or whatever that put you onto her. You started speaking to her on Skype, and then you flew over after speaking every day to her. You flew over in March the following year, and then you spent most of the time in a village getting to know her family, her friends, I suppose, and getting to know her. Was you staying in a hotel at that time? What was your accommodation?
I was staying in a I was staying in a she kind of rented me like a apartment condo that I was staying in the whole time.
Right, okay. And then how long was it then until you actually left the Philippines and come back over with her to America? How long ago after was that?
Okay, so I was there in March for 21 days because that was my
21 days.
limit.
Okay.
Then I came back. I think it was like I think it was late March or something. I think that was like late March when I came back.
Okay.
And then from that point all the way to 2016 of June 2nd, 2016. So that was over a year.
Yeah.
It was over a year, like a year and a month. That's when she came back to America and we got married.
Okay. So you got married in America, not the Philippines.
Then in America because it was much easier.
Okay. So you got married. Was she still studying when she come to America, or was she? What happened?
When she came here, she completed all of her college and she got her degree. So
Okay.
that's what we were waiting for, to her to finish her college, so she could actually have a degree. Then to come here and start all over again. We wanted to finish her degree there.
Yeah. And you said that when she was in America, she had two jobs. She was working.
Yes, she was working at a major hotel
Yeah.
and at a Chinese restaurant part time. So she had two jobs that she was working.
Okay. And how long after those two jobs did she get a job at Amazon? You said she got a very good job afterwards.
Yeah, so she worked a restaurant for, I want to say, like maybe 3 months part time, and then the hotel maybe 4 or 5 months,
Okay.
and then after that she ended up going to Amazon.
Okay. And then everything was absolutely fine. You went to work, she went to work, you come home, obviously met each other, had dinner, everything was normal.
Yeah,
Um,
everything was normal, no problems.
okay. And then from the first moment that you received an issue was after this baby shower. And what month was that in? What year and month, the baby shower?
That was October of 2020.
So October 2020, pretty recent. There was a baby shower. One of her Filipino friends had just had a baby, and you think that this planted a bit of a seed in her mind to push you on the baby game, to have a
Oh,
baby with
definitely,
you.
definitely the baby shower did it, because all of her Filipino friends were coming up to me and asking me, they were like ganging up on me, asking me when we were going to have a kid.
Right. Okay. So this
And
is this.
I kept telling them, you know, we're not going to have a kid because that not was in our plan.
Yeah, it sounds like they might have already had a group discussion amongst themselves when they met up and stuff, and
And they
so
could have, absolutely, they could have.
yeah. So literally, it started from then, and from that moment, how long after until you knew that it was a divorce was definitely happening?
Is so one day she was not working and I was not working, and she was she was cleaning the house and I was on the computer and I was paying some bills, and she came up to me and she started crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "I have to have a child. We have to have a child." And I says, I said, "I'm not going to tell you over and over again. We're not going to have a child. You know this."
Wow.
And she says, "I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more." So this is what I told her. I said, "You have to think about this and make the decision, not me, because you already know where I stand. You have to decide if you're going to stay with me in this marriage or not, because you're the one that has the issue right now."
Yeah.
So literally, I think it was probably less than 30 minutes. She came back in the room and she said, "I can't do this." So
Wow.
that's the time we decided to get divorced.
Wow. And what kind of effects did this have on you mentally, emotionally? I mean, how did you take all this?
So it's I felt I felt being used. I felt being misled because I told her everything from the beginning. I didn't hide nothing from her. So that's what I started feeling. And the two things that really bother me the most right now is this whole thing is that the amount of money I spent and lost with her,
Yeah.
which is thousands of dollars, and to almost put a price tag, it's 80 to $100,000 if you want to include everything I spent. It's a lot of money, and the 7 years of my life it bothers me. I wasted 7 years of my life.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate to that. You've basically lost out on 7 years because you've not built anything for the future. You've also lost out on a potential $100,000 that could have been part of your retirement fund, which you're in
Yes,
retirement now. Is that right?
yes. I just retired. I just officially retired on paper June 1st of 2022. I was no longer working from the company I was with.
Right. Okay.
And
So
I've
so
been
you
with them, and I've been with them for 32 years.
yeah, wow. So yeah, so you've lost out on that 7 years of potentially building a nice bright future for your retirement, and that 100,000 would have gone a long way for you as well.
And Dan, not even only that, I could be with somebody else that really would have
Yep.
been with me, the right woman that would respect and everything and want the same dreams in life that I have. And that's another 7 years I could have been with somebody else.
Well, we're going to touch base on that subject after this middle segment, the meat and potatoes, so to speak, on what your plans are in the future. Um, but yeah, it's a long time. 7 years, the 100,000 is a lot of money. Um, Now, when she left your home, I presume she went to go and stay with one of her Filipino friends until she sorted herself out and got herself an apartment, etc. Is
She
that right?
actually, she actually, no, she actually, I helped her find an apartment.
Okay.
I helped her find an apartment, helped her figure out
Wow.
furniture and things that she might need to be on her own. I was a nice guy about all of it, and she will admit it to anybody that I was good to her like that. She can't talk nothing bad about me. Even the lawyer asked her does to her asked her if I did anything wrong and bad to her, and she said no. She
So,
came out of her mouth. So that just goes to show you that she could have talked bad if I did something bad to her, and she said no. Mike didn't do anything bad to me.
okay, so it sounds like that when it happened, you was quite angry and you felt betrayed. You dealt with your feelings, you dealt with your emotions, you were still living with this woman, and you decided to amicably resolve it. Okay, this is what you want. You want to finish, you want a divorce. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to kick you out on the street. I'll help you get set up and stuff. And Did you help her financially to get set up, or did she do that all herself?
So I didn't help her. I didn't help her nothing financially because this is what I told her. I told her, you have everything made with me. Meaning she had my retirement, she had medical for my job for the rest of her life. And I didn't need to. It's basically like, here's your gold, and you're throwing your gold away. That's what she did. So I wasn't going to help her financially because I helped her already a lot financially with all the money I spent on her and her family and to get her here and everything else. So that was her responsibility. But most guys in my situation, they would have been angry and bitter. They probably wouldn't have treated the wife, ex-wife, like this. They probably would have kicked her out. And I wasn't do that because I said to myself, it ain't gonna do no good. It's just gonna make things worse. So I'm gonna be the best person I could be, because then in the end, she can never say anything bad about me.
Yeah, no, totally, totally
And
understand.
today, as of right now, today, she still can't say anything bad about me.
Okay. But as far as you know, she's moved on with her life. She's still got a job. She's got an apartment and she's dating other men as far as you know, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, right, Mike. So basically, me and Mike have just had a chat off camera. There's a few holes within the story that I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on. So basically, what it was that from the moment your ex-wife landed in America, it was 4 years of a normal, happy marriage, would you say, Mike? Until you got the baby problem from the baby shower. Literally 4 years, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And did you? And it was under a year after, was it? When you actually got the divorce, almost a year after that.
Yeah, less than a year because the baby shower is in October. The following April, we were divorced right after.
Right, okay. But it was 4 years of literally a good marriage where she was working. Did she contribute towards the bills or anything, Mike? Or was you looking after everything? What was going on with her money that she made?
Uh, After she started working at Amazon, because that's where she did a real good job, I started
Yeah, yeah.
telling her, you got to contribute something. And all I even asked for was a little bit, and it was $100, and she was complaining about a lousy $100.
Wow. So you didn't really get any contribution offer then, I take it.
No, I was paying everything here, everything.
Okay, so what was she doing with all the money? Because I don't think she would have been sending it all back home. Was she buying herself clothes, makeup? I mean, what did she do with?
Banking it, her savings, sending a little bit home, and buying a little bit of clothes for herself. But basically, she was banking a lot of money.
Right, okay. So she wasn't like buying herself like Gucci handbags or anything crazy and ridiculous. She was
No,
banking.
no, she was banking a lot of the money and sending some home, like to help the family.
Right, I think that's really, really important to know. You know what she was doing with her own money. You was basically still paying 300 to $500 every month, sending that money back home. You was paying all the bills and supporting her. And she was basically getting money from a good job from Amazon, sending a little bit of that money back home as well to add on to the money that you were sending and banking the rest, as well as getting the normal stuff that a woman would get,
Right,
like toiletries and, you know,
right,
perfume or whatever. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
basics.
just she was buying her own little personal stuff, but like the food, I was paying for all the food, the electric, the gas, taxes for the house, insurance. I was paying for all that.
Okay, and in regard to your character as well, just so people can know a little bit about you as your character, you're not a big drinker. You stated to me you don't drink a lot at all. You don't do drugs at all, and you don't smoke. Is that fair enough to say,
No,
Mike?
none of those bad habits. I never done any of that, so that's just not me.
Yeah, so normally if you go out to have a beer, how many beers would you normally have, Mike?
Two at the very most, but usually one.
Right, and do you drink in the house at all, ever?
Let me just put it to you this way: I probably drink 20 beers in 1 year.
Right, okay, good. I just want
That's
people
not a
to.
lot of beers.
No, it's not. I just want people to get a better perspective of you as a
And
person.
nobody wants to believe. They think you don't drink that much. I just don't drink that much.
Yeah, well, I used to drink a lot more than I do now. Now, literally, I might have
When I
one
was
can of beer a week, maybe.
Dan, when I was younger, I drank a lot of beers like any young person. You have a party with your friends, you drink. But I'm older now, and I just doesn't. I'm not like that no more. I'll just have a cold beer one day if I'm working outside really and I'm sweating and I want to come and relax. I have one beer for the day, and that's it.
Right, okay. So just to give everybody a better idea, so they know, I think they've got all your story now. I don't think there'll be that many questions to ask. They understand your character. They understand what happened with you and her. The cousin set you up with her. You also told me that she's got a sister who's lived in America for a long time as well. Can you tell us a little bit about her sister?
So her sister, she married a guy in America. He was in the Philippines on his little on vacation, and he ran into her sister. Her sister worked at a hotel, and then he went they got became friends, and he went back and picked and then decided to marry her, and he brought her to America, and they live in Seattle, Washington, and she's been here married to him about 16 years now.
Right, okay. And I presumed that when you first started talking to your ex-wife, when the cousin set you up with her and you were speaking to her from August until March the following year, I'm presuming a sister might have been involved in that. I mean, did you speak to a sister within that time frame? And
Actually, I have spoke to her sister once on the phone, so she wanted to get a little bit to know me. And then when I flew to the Philippines to meet my wife for the first my ex-wife for the first time, the very first time, her sister flew in there too to meet me
wow,
the same time. So I met her sister in the Philippines the same time I was meeting my ex-wife for the first time.
wow, okay, okay. Right, so basically, you've given us your story, Mike, and I know that for the people that are watching, I put it down to three assumptions that most people will have about your story in regard to what happened. Now, the first one is the most bad one, and I'll just speak to you about that and then just get your feedback from what I say. Where basically it could have been a setup from the beginning. You could have been set up from the beginning, where the cousin got to speak to you, got to find out about you. You've got a good job. You're very dependable. You're very stable for any woman, whether they're in America or in a different country. You know, you're the type of guy that's got his own house, got a good job, and probably a good retirement as well. Yeah. You're not a big drinker. You don't do drugs. You don't smoke, Mike. So you're the perfect type of guy. So you got set up with a 23-year-old. You showed me a picture of her earlier, yeah, because I've not really seen her before. She looked very beautiful. She reminded me of my own ex-partner. Yeah, she looks very, very good. And you got speaking to this woman from August up until March. You then decided to fly over to the Philippines. You stayed in a village. It got her family, her friends to come and meet you and judge you and weigh you up. You met the mother as well. Yeah, her father had passed away, you told me, so he's no longer with us. And you started to fund the mother, basically, $300 to $500, yeah, per month.
Yeah.
Okay. So straight away, you're a very stable, dependable guy from America, which is like the number one country that everybody wants to go to from every single poor country in the world. That's the main place. I'm sure you can agree with that. America's the hope of and land of opportunity. Might not be so much anymore, Mike, but
Not anymore.
but other people don't know that.
They sure don't know.
No, no. So basically, yeah, everything was perfect in regard to your ex-wife's eyes, in regards to the village people there, in regards to her mum. So they would have been more than happy for her daughter to go back to America with you. You treated her good. You're not an alcoholic, so there wouldn't have been any major fights or hitting her or any kind of abuse in the relationship. So everything was hunky dory, and and um, at the 4 year interval of being together, she went to a baby shower. She'd been mixing with other Filipinos. The Filipino had a baby, and you went there, and then straight away issues started to arise about having children. But this Filipino lady already knew that you had a vasectomy, and at your age, it's very difficult to reverse that vasectomy in order for you to have children. Plus, you was already prior and adamant prior to not having children and made it extremely clear to her that it was never ever going to happen.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So this could have been a setup. I know it's a long setup. You wouldn't imagine it over a 4 year period or 5 year period, but this could have been a big setup where she was trying to possibly have a baby with you. So once she has her own half American, half Filipino baby, and she divorces from you, then she could, I don't know the laws without checking. Somebody that's watching might be able to tell us, but then she might have possibly been able to get her mother to come to the country also, because she's got a good job and she wants her mother to look after the baby, and then she's got all her family set up here and she can live happily ever after in America just with her Filipino family. So there's the first kind of like crazy story on what could have happened. What do you think in regard to that scenario, honestly?
I think that can be possibly true. And then let me add something else to that. She just became a citizen because after you're here for so long in America, you could become a citizen. And during that time with the baby in October, she qualified to where she could apply to become American citizen, which now she just became American citizen a month ago.
Okay, so if she would have convinced you to have a baby at that moment in time on the baby shower date, and let's say she got pregnant 3 or 4 months later, yeah, then you've got a 9 month pregnancy. That would have been roughly around the time when she would have became an American citizen and where she could have divorced you and possibly brought a mum to America to live happily ever after with their own family with you out of the equation.
Right. And having a baby too on top of it. Correct.
Yeah. Now, the second assumption that people might come to is that she's Filipino and they do genuinely want to have children. Yeah. And because she's only young, she's got a whole life to lead, and she might have just literally, yeah, just wanted a family, and you couldn't give her that. And for a Filipino woman or a Thai woman, that can have a big effect on them. So they decide to move on because it's such a big importance. And it could have just been as simple as that. Okay. How do you feel about that one?
That's possible too. So that's as well could be what possibly could have happened.
Yeah. And then the third assumption that I've got is that I hear a lot of stories. I didn't speak to you about this prior. This is like a different assumption, Mike. Is that when you go to work and you get to meet other people, don't you? So you'll get to meet other women and you'll get to meet other men. Is it at all possible that a new relationship was blossoming at Amazon, for example? She's young, she's 23, she looks good, yeah. It could have been a possibility, and the baby scenario could have been used in a way to get out of the relationship in the nicest possible way because she knew that yourself would never have a baby. You couldn't reverse the vasectomy, and it was just more of a cleaner way to get out of the relationship. What do you think about that one?
So that third one, no.
Okay.
I think the third one's meeting somebody at the job and that she wanted out. No, I think it's one of the first two.
Okay, but what would your reasons be behind number three being a definite no-no?
Because she used to complain to me all the time that these guys at work that they try to hit on him and she don't like them and she was being harassed with one of the guys at work and she asked me what to do about it. I said, you go
Wow.
talk to the person first and tell them to stop. If you don't, you're going to go to management
Okay.
because you can't do that sexual harassment at the job. So that's why I don't think it's anybody at work. And the
Okay.
guy that she's so-called dating now doesn't work for Amazon.
Okay. But you've been broken up for how long since you left out of that house?
So we divorced 2021 April.
Yeah.
So we're on 2023 right now, September. So it's roughly a year and 5 months.
Yeah. So there is a tiny, tiny, tiny possibility that she could have been dating someone for say 3, 6 months, maybe from work and then finished and moved on. I'm just saying, like,
And it's anything's possible. Anything's possible.
but from your feedback from her and what she used to
But
say about men
but
and stuff, you just don't think that would be a
it so I really truly think it's the one of the first two that you were saying earlier.
okay.
One of those two scenarios, not the third one. I really think it's one of the first two.
Okay, Mike, no problem. Right, Mike, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the story off. Yeah, we've explained to everybody. Everyone's going to come up with their own assumptions. You're a subscriber of the channel, so I presume you'll reply to some comments, some you might not do. So just to fill in the gaps with people and stuff as well, because I'm sure that a lot of people will have a lot of questions. And the most exciting bit about your story is what's going to happen to Mike next. So we'll jump onto that in a second, Mike, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Hello, guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say about Mike's story. What do you think about what really happened? What went on? Why she decided to leave him after 4 years of a happy marriage? Do you think she was set up from the Filipino family from the very start? Or do you believe that it was just simply she wanted children, she was a young woman, and she wanted a future with a man, maybe even more her age? I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. Please drop a comment. We've got part 2 of Mike's story about what he's going to do moving forward as he's going to be traveling and venturing around. It's a very, very interesting one, guys, and it'll be posted tomorrow. So please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification, and I'll see you again on Thailand Adventures with Dan. It's been a very long day. Have a happy Sunday. Oosh.